there's three categories of profit production from your products, your services, and even your customers. It all comes down to that 80/20 rule that most people talk about, but very few really truly understand. And those three categories are made up of your profit makers, so the 20% that contribute somewhere between 150 to 300% of profit over time, and your products and customers that actually increase the peak internal profitability. Now, the second are your profit neutrals. Those are the 60% of customers and products that ultimately are either maintain or match your peak internal profitability. But finally, and this is where a lot of brands go wrong, is they don't identify those profit takers and the 20% of accounts that actually lose them business and profits. And it can really reduce your profitability by up to 50% if you're not careful. And that's why a lot of brands that are out there right now are focused on innovating, when really, if they were to turn around and look at what's working inside of the business, you would have a much better chance at understanding where to focus your marketing and your time. Really good business case, and a client that I worked with actually used this as a measure to figure out that he had two sides to his business. He had his construction side and he had his retail side, and he had a gut feeling that his construction side was holding up the business and his retail side was actually losing them money. And after dissecting their financials, we were able to figure out that that retail center was burning up capital and actually creating massive amounts of decrease in their profitability. So much so that they were losing sometimes 42% in a quarter. That's really dangerous. And so what we did is we went in, we looked at inventory management. We actually got a hold of an entire foundation by using the financials, and then ultimately being able to identify what were the profit makers inside of that retail store, putting everything in terms of inventory on sale so we could get through their working capital. And then ultimately, within a matter of 3 months, they turned that entire retail center around by ensuring that they did inventory counts every week and that they were purchasing inventory that was actually moving, as opposed to what the legacy of their parents were doing, were purchasing based on relationships that ultimately were draining their cash flow and hurting the business in the long term. So when you are looking at your business, you need to look at those three categories. What's making you money, those profit makers? What are those profit neutrals where you have opportunities to actually increase them into profit makers? And then what products, services, and customers are absorbing your internal resources and ultimately hurting your bottom line? And that way you are going to get to better business health a lot faster.